Hey, you all, it's Adam Conrod. You can guess it. Today was or is my 46th birthday. 46 years ago today, I came in this world. My mother always told me at the exact time when I was born. She said, Adam, it's not your birthday until 7:42 a.m. And she said, nobody's birthday does not officially start or begin until the exact hour of the day when you were born. And she said, Adam, you were born October 9th at 7:42 a.m. in Halifax, and that's when your birthday officially starts. And here's our cake that was lit and was given to me by my father. So they make a wish. Gee, every wish that I make never happens. I'd say my wish. What's my wish? I don't know. See, I hate this. Don't you hate that when they ask you to make your wish and you don't have any wish because you can't think fast enough on top of your head? Let's say I win $1 million and I can afford to go someplace where I can get away from people, where I can just live a normal life. How we all like to just have a normal life here in Nova Scotia. It's just quite challenging when it shouldn't be challenging, but it is challenging. Yeah, that's it. I'll win $1 million. I can move out of Nova Scotia someplace where I can enjoy life. How we all should. How's that? That's it. That's what we'll do. That's what it'll be. That's my wish right there. I got a Christmas card, a birthday card from my father. Now me and my father our relation was never perfect. Because when we were younger, there was a lot of questionable decisions that was made. Like when we lived in Cole Harbour and said let's relocate in Porter's Lake, and that decision impacted us quite a bit on the negative side of things. And there's this card right here. It's your birthday, and no matter what age you are, son. There she is. What does it say on the inside? Today's a day to celebrate, enjoy yourself, and have fun. Happy birthday, Adam, 2025. Now, this birthday is a little different because if you know anything about my history from last year, my grandmother always gave me a Christmas card. Isn't as a kid, even right to the end, when I was in my 40s, at the age of 45, could you believe it? Believe it or not, she always gave me a birthday card. I keep saying Christmas card with money in it. What was it? About 25, $40 every time in that price range. But anyways, January 5th, she passed away around 10:45 a.m., I believe. She was 92 years old. She just couldn't go on anymore. Just her body just wouldn't allow it. So, unfortunately, she passed away. But this is my first birthday without her, and it's that empty void spot. Usually, it's not felt, but her, for some reason, especially on my birthday, it's noticeable and it's felt because she was the most generous, heartwarming, generous, nice grandmother that anybody would ask for. She was that. She wasn't the best on the educated side of things with the knowledge which she should have had, which she, to survive in the world. But, she wasn't strong in that department. But she always stuck by to the duties of what a grandmother should do with her grandchildren. And if my father would be screwing up with father making decisions, my grandmother was right there after him right quick. But, the time had come for her to return, to go back home to the other side. We all have that, but it was her time to do that. But anyways, last birthday, one of my favorite TV shows came out in a movie. And you all probably remember that TV show remember the TV show with Lee Majors, Douglas Barr, and Heather Thomas? The show is called The Fall Guy. But anyways, they made a remake movie. A lot of people, a lot of critics canned the show. They didn't think it was very good. I actually liked it, because that's a show that was off the air far too long. You don't see the show coming back in reruns. Why? I'll never know. And I said, I'm pretty sure that's why the movie, didn't do so well as a movie because everybody, the audience forgot all about the show. Today's generation, you hear, you ask them, you ever hear the name of the show called The Fall Guy? Today's generation looks over and they say, what's that? I love that show. I actually liked it. I found it was quite comical and all this stuff, but I liked the show. But this year, I got another movie that came out. And a lot of, again, the credits, it's corny, it's not going to work, it didn't work, they canned it. And that was called, the movie was called, the new Superman movie came out. The guy that played Superman, where's his name? Don't you hate that when they, David Cornsweet? Oh, sweet. It's a name that I can't pronounce, put it that way. But anyways, I seen the movie. I sort of looked down on it too when I seen Superman with a flying dog. I said, that's going to kill the show right from the start. It's going to kill it. I can see it happening. Lo and behold, they were very smart with it. They got that Superman dog out of the way of the majority of the film, and they just let Superman be Superman. And I felt the movie did very well. I actually liked it. And before I bought it at the Walmart, I was concerned that I could be putting money on a movie that's not even worthwhile purchasing. Because I hate that. You spend about $20-$30 on a movie that's built to be right big, and then you watch it. It's so bad, you can't get to the DVD player or the Blu-ray fast enough that hit the off switch and turn it off so you can turn your TV back to that whatever's on TV sort of thing. But this movie I felt did quite well. So usually every birthday I have, you usually see me buying movies, new releases, and this is my, I guess you could say second one. I was unsure about it, but I did it. But, this birthday, the absence of my grandmother not being there was there. This birthday, I'm going to tell you something. I had health crisis. I was going through health crisis, not the best. Last week, I was home eating pizza, My uncle called me, come over, have some pizza, whatever, I really didn't want to come over. Something was telling me not to do it, but I went over anyways. And, all right, so I ate it all, So I left, went back home, and it was all done. Did my blood pressure blow up? All record-breaking numbers. It was up to 174, dropped to 170. So the second day, come back, all right, she went down to 160. It's a little better. The next day, down to 150. So I come back the next day after that. Now we're down to 147. Still in the high range, but it was normal. So now and I remember that, my heart was racing out of nowhere. And I said, well, I guess this is not good. And I thought, maybe you're on the edge of having a heart attack or something. So a lot of friends came to me and said, no, I was that age too when I had that issue. And they all said, Adam, you're probably just at that age, you need blood pressure pills. And he said, when was the last time you were with your family doctor? And I said, could you believe it or not, that I actually got a new family doctor a couple months ago, and she's right on. She's always after my blood pressure for some reason. Every time I go see her, she got her strap on my arm. She's here with her pump thing there, pumping it up and all this stuff. And she was always after my blood pressure. And she said, your normal was a bit high. And she said, I may have to issue you some blood pressure pills because a lot of people said at that age of 46 and up, the blood pressure, people with blood pressure, we got to go that route. And that's where we're at today. I'm a lot better than I was doing last week, I'll tell you that. And not only that, with health issues, I got a issue with my left ear. I was told by the surgeon, if I check, this was like 5 years ago, more than that, 7 years ago, he said, I'm going to find a tumor. The chances are I'm going to find a tumor. And you hear that, you brace yourself. So I listened what the surgeon said. What I can do is I can give you that steroid when your nostrils let it trickle down and you're going to start cracking. You hear that, that's good. What the surgeon is saying is, fast forward to today, I just seen a surgeon last month, And the ear doctor, and he said, what's wrong is your inner ear, there's a buildup of fluid, and it's not releasing. It needs to release. And he said, not only that, inside your ear, there's a stem. And when you're hearing stuff, your hearing is moving, the stem is moving in and out. And he said, what's wrong is your inner stem, it'll open, but it doesn't stay open when it got to stay open. And he said, what might need to happen is, he said, you may require surgery, and it's reconstructed surgery, and he said they may have to put a fake stem, an artificial stem inside your ear. He didn't say how long it would take, but you rewind back to the surgeon 7 years ago on Baker Drive. He stated that if I look, it's more likely going to be a tumor if I look. When I keep hearing that word of a tumor, I keep remember that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, what was it called? Kindergarten Cop. And the kid said, I think it's a tumor. And Arnold Schwarzenegger says, it's not a tumor. And that's what I feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, it's not a tumor. It's an ear blockage. And I got to go all through this craziness to get it done, But other than that, that's your health issues. But yeah, it was quite a turbulent, I guess you could say, couple of months. Your health is not doing as good as what it should be, I guess you could say, the way things are looking. So that's the direction that we're going down as of right now, and we're going to try to get that spun around. We're putting ourselves on a diet to lose the weight. And my doctor, she knows that I've been on diets many times. You'll lose all the weight. But when it comes to that stomach, losing that stomach fat, that's the challenge. And she had stated, she understands that you went through a lot of diets and that stomach won't drop no matter what you do. She had stated that if she has to, she will issue diet medication pills for my stomach to make that shrinkage happen. So that's what we're doing so far. Now with the birthday wishes, I had lots and lots and lots of birthday wishes from former classmates who I haven't seen in 30 years. I mean, I had a former classmate who I just met, when was it there, Ryan? 4 years ago already? 3 years ago, I was working for a guy cutting grass along the eastern shore, and we went to this house. For me, it was just a regular everyday stop. We're going to cut the grass. We're going to go on our way. I've been to this location hundreds of times. Thought nothing of it, just the average stop. So when I got out start cutting the grass, I remember this elder lady came up to me. She was the guy's grandmother who I used to go to school with without me knowing at the time. And she came out, she asked me, she started talking with her grandson as if I knew him. And I don't pay attention. Actually, when I left high school at Muscatine, Harvard, Eastern Shore District High, I went in 180-degree angles the opposite direction from all the rest of the classmates. And she mentioned his name. I was familiar with him and all this stuff. But I told her I haven't seen this person in at least 30 years, getting close to it. And he said, you're lucky I ever recognize him. So she left. So I went on my way, cutting grass, And so this guy walked up to me. He knew me. I had not a clue. I don't pay attention to nothing. So he introduced himself to me. His name was Ryan and all this stuff. He said, I went to school with you at Lakeview School, a little bit in Gatesbrook. But he left before going to Eastern Shore High, which I can't blame him because Eastern Shore High was in such deplorable shape. You got to look after yourself. So I can't blame him for making that exit, not really wanting to continue at Eastern Shore High. I don't really blame him there. But anyways, I went to school with him, and that was our first time when we've seen each other since 1994 or 95. Is that correct? Ryan will know. I'm not going to mention his last name because he doesn't want his name mentioned or whatever, but that was him. That was our first time when I seen him since 1994 or 95, around then. And it was actually a reunion more than whatever you want to call it. But anyways, on this birthday, what I do is with Halloween around the corner, believe it or not, I do crafts I make things for some people, not a lot. It's just because I like to keep my mind occupied on things. And anyways, down below here, I got a good sized pumpkin that I put a face on it. I turn it into a character. Last year, I made 2 of them, and I gave the 2 of them to my grandmother. But like I said earlier here, my grandmother passed away last year on January 5th, I believe. And now she's not here to continue on that tradition, so I'll more than likely give it to some kid or somebody who could use a pumpkin or can't afford a pumpkin. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to turn this into a pumpkin character with face and a nose and these ears, whatever you want to call it. Now, when you do this, well, I'll show you when I get started. So I'm going to start by tearing apart this bag. Now, all you people there, I got this at Dollarama. You can get it for $3.50. I know it's getting a little pricey for that, too, for something at the dollar store. So I'll take the eyes and arms and all this stuff out. So I'll put this down here. It comes in 2 separate bags. One bag for another character that you choose to make, and another one. So I'll pick this guy right here. So I'll put this guy down off the side here on the floor for now. And I'll pull the eyes out. How you like the birthday thing so far? You never spotted me to be doing crafts in the middle of a birthday thing, but what it means is a lot of things for the first time. So we got a mouth with a tongue. We got eyes. Whatever this here is supposed to be, I don't know. We'll figure out something with it. And I guess this is his ears. Now, when you look at these things here, you'll see that there's a mighty thin stub or whatever you want to call it. Now, when you're putting into these pumpkins, if you can, this is what I do. I don't put it in directly because you'll break the stem. I get a nail, so I just poke it through the side, and then I'll put this inside so it doesn't break it. So you can actually build what it is that you're going to build. So what I'll do is I'll pre-match everything so it's not screwed up, and we'll go from there. So right there, we'll put this right in here. So there's the nail. Put the nail in so it works. We'll go from there. So the eyes are in. I don't know. I think I got a little too low there. So we got the eyes in. I don't know. I think the pumpkin's a little bit too big. My attitude is bigger the better, but sometimes maybe bigger the better ain't the best solution. So we'll put the nose in, the mouth and tongue in. Oh, yeah. So we'll put the nail out, because the nail tends to get stuck and go too deep with it. And we'll pull this in. And when you look at it, I don't know, I think it's too small. Can you see that? We'll put that in. And then we'll put the ears in. Put the ears in right here. So we got one ear in. I guess that's an ear. I think the pumpkin's too big. What do you think? And we'll put the stem right over here. And we'll go from there. Now again, like I said, these stems are mighty weak, so do not put too much pressure on. Like I said, if you gotta use a nail, make the hole bigger, do so you don't break it. Because once it's broke, that's the end of it. And then it goes in, see? So I don't know what this is. I guess I'll put him up on his forehead. I guess he's supposed to be here on his head, I guess. I don't know. What do you think so far? I don't know. He looks like he's too big. So what I'll do, I'll put a hole on his forehead, and I'll put this in. I guess this is supposed to be hair on his head, I guess. And we'll do that. That's what we'll do. throw the holes in. So that's in. And we'll go from there. So I guess that's it, I guess. There he is. I got no name for him, so I'll give him to somebody out in the community. I mean, there he is. Halloween's a couple weeks away, so there's my creation. On my birthday thing. What do you say about that? Usually I screw things up when I do this. I'm not the best at it, but it worked for us today. That's the main thing. But anyways, yeah, this year was my 46th birthday. I was given some money. My grandmother passed away. She left me some money, believe it or not. All in $100 bills. Did you believe that? All in $100 bills right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All in $100 bills. She left me this. She was, like I said, she was probably the most generous grandmother, the most heartwarming grandmother that a person could ever ask for a grandmother. She was that. Very, very generous. But unfortunately, we all have a time to go. And she left in January of 2024. You know, you think of her every day. My mother passed away. I think of her on a daily basis. But we all have time to go. Yeah, so that's my birthday thing for this year. I thank the people who messaged me this year. And we'll see you again next year if the Lord allows me to have another birthday. But anyways, I thank you all for your birthday wishes, and we'll see you again next year.